Okay, we're recording?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
What's that New Zealand thing? Like the
Oh,
haka?
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we should do a haka right now.
Yeah.
Is it called a haka? I'm second
I
guessing.
think that's right.
It is.
Yeah.
I just got hella lightheaded. Okay, ready? Welcome to episode 3 of the Assorted Kinds
Speaking
podcast.
on the mic, Chris.
Closer.
I was like this far from
Yeah, but
it.
your mouth was like this.
I'm
directly into it. There you go.
You
Much
turned
better.
up your keyboard all the way.
fucking jerks.
Nobody
Okay.
could hear you.
That sounds better.
Oh, God.
It's fine.
Welcome to episode 3 of the Assorted Kinds podcast. Today we're joined by pre-recorded therapist, writer-director Derek Scully,
Hi, that's me.
camera operator Matt Davino,
Well, hello there.
set decorator David Gallardo,
What up?
and associate producer / location manager Nicole Castillo.
Oh, hello.
And it was her house we shot in, so location manager kind of makes sense, right?
I mean, most
Bye.
qualified person for the job.
Yeah.
By default.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. So, Derek, yeah, you can't play with the microphone. You got to set it down because I can hear every movement.
No, you can't.
She's got you there, Chris.
Happy wife, happy
I'm
life.
not going to win this, am I?
No,
No.
I don't know why you're trying.
Holy shit, you're going to ruin the podcast with your movement? Just for your stubbornness?
So boring.
Okay, all right.
Continue.
Derek, why don't you start us off with an introduction to the film? I want an elevator pitch, okay?
Okay. Ding! Second floor, going up. Pre-recorded therapist is the story of Melissa and her therapist who has left for unknown reasons. And he has left her a recording that should answer all of her questions and cure her of all of her life's stresses. Ding! Third floor.
Well done. Well done. Okay, cool. Yeah, elevator pitch is over with.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
The sequel will take place in an elevator.
Okay, so it's for someone who hasn't watched it yet. Tell me a little bit about the film, what it represents, what it's all about.
What I don't know what it represents. I think that it's okay. So I'm not sure the best way to answer that question, but I will
this.
answer it in this way.
Let's also assume that whoever's listening to this has seen the film at this point, so don't spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
And if you haven't seen it, go watch it right now. We'll wait. Are you done? Great. So yeah, the way this started, it was I wanted a character bit for this character open mic I was going to. It was a Thursday, and I also had therapy on Thursdays with my therapist, who I want to note was a lovely woman, and she and I were talking. I don't remember what about, and which is probably for the best. And I like fell into kind of a fit of hysterics. I started laughing hysterically just in the middle of a conversation, and it was super weird. I don't know why I did it, but I literally could not stop laughing while we were talking. And she was struggling to get a word in, and I was like, I'm so sorry, I can't stop laughing. And so she was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna power through. And so she started talking over me while I still continued to struggle to stop laughing, which in itself I also thought was very funny, so I didn't stop laughing. And I thought it was so funny that on the way home I was like, that's a really good nugget of an idea, a therapist struggling to a therapist continuing to talk in the face of a patient who is not listening and can't listen. So that was the brain spark. And so then I got home and I wrote out this character bit. I recorded it and then went to perform it. I recorded the therapist talking and then left gaps for my lines and just allowed myself to get interrupted by my own recording. And yeah, it wasn't until after that I remembered what was like also sparking that idea, because I think it was like in the back of my mind, but I kind of forgot about it, was a therapist I had back in North Carolina who I'm sorry, I'm answering like 3 questions at once.
Sweet, yeah, it's great.
But okay, I went back to this thing that happened in North Carolina where I had one of the worst therapists I've ever had. Just like not a bad person, but good Lord, bad at his job. A really just all around weirdo. He like. I remember he just had a very funny voice, and it was like, oh, so good to see you. Come on back. Let's I just just tried to enact him waving his hand at me, and I broke everything.
Okay.
And
Took us 3 hours to figure it out.
yeah, like it's just so strange. Like didn't really help me with any of my problems. Really. Never really understood the concept of my job, which was I was a video editor, and he just never got that. And like every session, I felt like it was a struggle to be like, no, so like moving pictures, I like edit those. He'd be like, oh, so you're like a consultant? Like, I don't what? But I was like, this guy needs a patient. I really felt that like he needed a patient.
So you like stuck it through with him out of like obligation to like help him out?
Kinda, a little bit, and like I was also hoping like maybe this could help me, but like I stayed longer. Like there was a point where I was like, this guy cannot help me because he can't help himself, and he doesn't know how to be a person, much less a therapist. And so that point happened, and then I continued to see him for multiple weeks because I just felt very bad for him. I think like one of the final sessions he played. He like, okay, so he had me come in, and I was like there for anxiety, and so he was like, okay, I'm gonna try something a little different today. I think you're gonna like it. Sorry, I should do this in his voice. I think you're gonna like it. And so you just go ahead and close your eyes. I was like, all right, I'm closing my eyes. He left the fluorescent light on for this, which always annoyed me. He was using a fluorescent light. There was a lamp in the room. Never used it. And he leaves the light on, and I close my eyes. And the next thing I hear is his voice again. And he's just like, hello, welcome to a guided meditation. It was like, is this you? Is this you right now? But I didn't say that. I was just like trying not to laugh because it was so funny that he was doing this, like in the room playing himself. Like he could have just read the guided meditation script, but he didn't. He played a recording of himself reading it. And then just sat there.
So was he just like staring at you the whole time?
My eyes were closed. I was afraid to open them, so probably. And he was like guiding me through a meadow and like along the beach, I remember. And the whole time was just like, oh my God, this is so silly. This is the silliest thing that's ever happened, and I can't laugh because if I laugh, it'll hurt his feelings. And then, like, I swear it was 15 minutes long, and we got to the end of it, and he is like, now, how do you feel? Do you feel relaxed now? Still feel anxious? I was like, if anything, I feel a little more anxious.
To get out of here.
And he was like, he was so hurt that I said that, too. He was like, oh my, I've never had that before. Like he has other patients who've like given him a standing ovation for this recording. And then he also made sure that I left with the recording on a thumb drive. I think I still have it somewhere, but I'm not sure. And so I used that story to inspire this script. Just the idea of a therapist who's like, I'm killing it right now. I'm curing the shit out of this person, even though they're being an idiot. I just thought like that idea is very funny. So that's what inspired this short, and that's what it's really about, is a therapist who thinks he's the best. Although I think with the ending I went with for this, he like ends up being the best after all. But whatever.
Payoff? Yeah, there's a payoff, right, for the user.
So you never went back to him?
I may have after that. I mean, he's back in North Carolina where he belongs. So, yeah, I'm not currently seeing a therapist because I have a bad track record with therapists where I accidentally miss an appointment, then I feel so bad about it that I ghost them. And that's not to say that I don't need therapy. It's that I'm just in a period right now where, like, I feel bad about doing that.
You can't take on that kind of commitment.
Yeah, I'm just not between therapists right now. I'm not.
I fully understand that situation. You feel bad and you ghost them. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, because I can't take responsibility for my own mistake.
You're treating your therapist like Tinder dates.
Yeah, well, I hope that's not how I've been treating Tinder dates. But
this is the first short film we've done that was actually based off of like a real situation, and I want to like, what are you guys' thoughts on like writing based off of experience versus writing based off of interest? Right, Last One Screaming was kind of based off of like, oh, like what if.
I mean, I personally think that you can't write not of experience.
Yeah.
Right? Like you bring your life experience into what you're writing, no matter what. You know, people always say write what you know. You know, if you know horror movies because you've watched a whole bunch of horror movies, you can write a horror movie. But if you don't know anything about horror movies, that might be tough.
There's a little bit of like, for me, it's like unpacking a thing and processing the thing.
I think it depends. As an artist, it depends on where you are. Because for example, for my film 9/2, that was, which coming soon, that was based on a moment I had in my life, and I wanted to expand on it. And so, but like other things that I've written since then have all been things like I've wanted to explore. So it just depends on where you are as an artist at that moment and what story you want to feel like telling. At least for me, there are some people that write only what they're, what they've experienced. There's people that want to explore things like Davino does horror, so.
Yeah, I think also some people like you, Chris, you write as a way of like processing your life and dealing with things in your past and trying to like use it as a form of therapy. Whereas like for me, I'd write because like I want to imagine crazy things and like have fun and just get lost in the story. It's not about like working through anything. As I go to actual therapy for that. So I think it's different for everybody. Like, what about you, Derek?
for me, I think it starts. I find that I'm much more successful writing when I'm starting with a little idea, a little moment that, I write mostly comedy, so a little moment that just kind of tickles me. Like, I find this little thing so funny that I really want to write about it. And then a scene grows from there, and a story grows from there. Whereas, and this is, I'm on a sketch team. We perform fourth Sundays at the Pack Theater in Los Angeles, California.
Thunderdog.
And our name is Thunderdog. And for this past show, I had an idea. I had an idea for a sketch that was based that takes place in the Holes universe, the children's Disney movie Holes, where the boys, they go to camp and they dig holes because they were bad.
Hold on, sidebar. What? If you go on HBO now or HBO Go and you go to the horror sci-fi channel or section of movies, Holes is on the horror section of HBO movies. Anyway, I thought that was weird.
She has rattlesnake venom in her fingernails and she slaps a guy. That's pretty scary. Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Holes yet. So anyways, I really wanted to write a Holes sketch, and that was where I started from. And the sketch did not grow legs. I could not wrap my head around where it would go and like how the story would make any sense, and then I ran out of time for our show, so I just didn't pitch it because it just wasn't working. And I think that was because I was trying to write a sketch about holes, because I wanted to write a sketch about holes rather than starting with like a fun moment that the scene could grow around. If that makes any sense.
It does.
I mean, I actually want to talk a little bit about like what is the actual difference between a short film and a sketch?
You want me to say?
I don't know who wants to. Yeah,
I
anybody-
was just talking. So.
Yeah, I'd like to get your take on it, Derek, first, because you're really involved in the sketch scene and you love sketch comedy. And
I do. Yeah. I think that there's a bit of a Venn diagram there. I think a sketch structure is there is a sketch structure and there is a short film structure, and I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. But a short film traditionally has a 3-act structure, a character arc. The character has a problem, deals with it, learns something about themselves. The whole thing. Whereas sketch is just like we have a starting point, a base reality. Then something weird happens, and then we heighten it. And I hope that this short that we're talking about now, Pre-Recorded Therapist, I hope it does both, because that's what I was really setting out for. Because the funny thing is that this guy's not in the room, but he thinks that he can do everything he needed to do when he was in the room. And then we heighten that with the arms doing weird shit and the projector screen, and just like we heightened it as much as we could, and while at the same time the character is having her own story arc. She comes in, she's not sure about the situation, then she makes a choice to not leave, and then learns something about herself, and then leaves having changed, so yeah, I hope it's both, but it's very often short films are not sketches, and very often sketches are not short films. I just did a sketch on stage last night where it's a family trying to have dinner while just a litany of poop sounds come out of the speakers, and that's not a short film. I just want to state that for the record.
Okay,
not a short film, but I still love it.
Yeah, I think you did a really good job of that Venn diagram basically becoming a circle on this one, right?
Yeah.
But it's definitely lit right at home in both the short film world and the sketch world. Like I could see you recreating the short film on a stage in a black box theater, with your sketch troupe, or it could play in a comedy festival or something like that. Like you did a great job of blending both worlds into something and making it your own, and obviously you can see your passion for both in the film. Something I'm curious about is what's the difference between making a sketch for film and video versus doing it live on stage for you?
I think whenever you do comedy in any medium, you should try your best to play with the form, because there are things that you can do on video and with editing that you can't do on stage, and there are things you can do on stage that just would not play on video. One example of that, there's this sketch duo, they're called Britannic, and I remember seeing them do a sketch at UCB years ago, where the entire sketch was pantomimed, like everything. The story, like there were jokes in it, but like the main joke was that this whole sketch was pantomimed, and like there's a fence that they're climbing over, and it takes place in like medieval times, and they're like talking about the castle and the king and like everything. Like they're doing a lot of really great mime work in it, and then the blackout line of the sketch, the sketch right before they turn the lights out, the line right before they turn the lights out is Nick pulling out his a real prop knife and saying, "Why can't I see my knife?" Which I thought was like a really cool use of of the form, like. Because if you tried to do that on video, like we'd be like, why didn't they get any props? Like they wouldn't be able to get away with that for 2 minutes. But yeah, on stage, you're like, oh my God, these guys are such amazing mimes, and then it's a great line to get out on where like the one real prop they have they can't see. Sorry, that was really long.
No. Good story.
No, but I do like the where you kind of explained like the Venn diagram of like a sketch and a short, and I think like Davino said, like your short achieved both of those things because we saw the character's arc and we saw like, but at the same time we had that stinger at the end, you know, with you know the doctor or whatever, the voiceover that felt like an ending of a sketch, and I think combining those two just worked for that kind of situation. So yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this actual project coming to be, right? We had done a few shorts, and then you kind of entered the Assorted Kinds world. Had you had this sitting on the back burner for a little while, or did you write this for the endeavor?
It was already a character bit I was doing on stage, and then where I played the patient, and my voice was recorded for the therapist lines, and then I wrote it into a short film script, and got a lot of great notes from friends just about how to really like blow out that world, and then it turned into what it is now. Yeah,
it's great. I mean, we all really enjoyed when we got the first read of it, and we do a voting process on how we choose scripts. Our group selects the script. We however many scripts are brought, we vote on the one we want to make, and that's one we make that month. And that was the one that got number 3. No, number 4, but number 3, whatever.
How were you guys playing that on stage when you were developing it? Like, did you have a mannequin on stage? Were you off stage doing the voice?
It was all me. There was no mannequin. The mannequin, like the idea of a tape recorder duct taped to a mannequin was always part of it. But it's just a line, like the line, like as you might be able to tell, I am not here. Like, as you might be able to tell, you're not speaking to me, but to a mannequin duct taped to a tape player. That's not how it goes.
Again,
That was great.
Can I get another take?
Yeah, another one.
God.
So it's just you on stage?
Okay. I'm gonna take all this back. I'm sorry. This is not good podcast etiquette, but okay. So it's what it was just me on stage. I pre-recorded all of the therapist lines. There was no mannequin on stage. It was just like I just had the line, you're not speaking to me as such, but to a tape player duct taped to a mannequin. And like, so I just liked the idea of like putting that in the audience minds, and I'm just like staring straight ahead, and then that clues the audience into what I'm looking at.
Essentially the therapist.
Well, I mean, I'm not like singling anyone in. I'm not looking at anyone in the audience. I'm just looking over their heads. Just kind of, that's just how I staged it. And it was going well. Like, it was a really well received bit. Like, I got asked to like guest a couple times at a character show with that. So I was like, well, if it's working this well here, I may as well like take it to the screen.
It's good. It translated well. What was what was your experience? I mean, had you directed content like that in the past?
No, I hadn't.
First time director. Yeah.
I mean, like, I wasn't unfamiliar with. I wasn't unfamiliar with directing. Like, I had a sketch group in college. We shot stuff every weekend. And so, like, I acted and wrote and directed, like, a bunch for that, which was, like, really good practice, like, making terrible stuff to one day make stuff that wasn't so terrible.
Well put.
And, so, like, but I would say I hadn't directed anything like that in that I never put a budget into anything. I had never put, I'd never put a budget into anything. I'd never put time like that into something. like if I made a sketch or put a sketch on video, it was always just kind of like, well, what do we have lying around? It was never like I'm gonna go to IKEA and buy $500 worth of furniture and then return all of it, which is what I did for this.
IKEA's the best.
I know, right? And the cafeteria there, underrated.
Oh no, favorite.
Yeah, it's great.
Birthdays you get free.
What?
Free what?
Free meal.
I did not know that.
How?
Yeah,
do
I
they
got a
check
free
IDs?
meal,
Yeah,
and
I
then
was
they
about to
take
say.
$15 off whatever you buy.
Wow. I didn't know this. This is big information.
Yeah.
If you guys will keep talking while I look up the budget, that would be helpful for me. Thanks.
IKEA meatballs.
So good, so good.
Sorry, but continue.
Chris is looking up the budget right now, and
Okay.
I think that's pretty cool that he's putting all that effort into finding
Why are
the
you
budget.
looking at the budget?
Because I want to talk about the budget.
Oh,
Jeez.
dang. All right.
Money.
Chris loves spreadsheets.
And Chris wants us to have a meaningful conversation while he's doing it.
Not good
but
to have.
I got the budget, guys. Okay, check it out. Let's talk about the cost of making this. So we haven't talked about like budget stuff in previous podcasts with our shorts, and I do want to start talking about them. So it looks like what I have is a tally of like just over $1,500 for the total budget.
That's before returns.
Oh, so after returns, $800.
It's actually $797.12.
Yeah, I rounded up.
Well, I just want credit for all of the money I saved. So
That's a solid return on purchases.
Future Hollywood producer here, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
Derek. So I mean, like, what's up? Are you producing now or what? Because
I'm on the sketch team at the Pack Theater, and we've been like doing a fair amount of video sketches now. So like, I've been putting a lot of energy into the team in general, just with like live sketches and with video stuff. We just did a Game of Thrones sketch that's not the example I should say because
all the wig. I saw the wig though.
Can you do your Jon Snow impression for us?
I don't know if I can do it, but I know I can try.
I don't know if that.
I'm not sure if that's it, but I
No.
like what you're.
No,
I like what
it-
you're.
it's actually pretty good. I've been re-binging Game of Thrones, so it's pretty accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
David says.
David's right about this.
David says. Okay.
All I know is that he's just as sexy as Jon Snow.
Yeah. Noted. Okay.
Thank you.
So real quick, like,
I'm yours.
so when we talk about when we look at the budget, right? We try to make these things as sustainable as possible so that we can do them every month, right? And the cost falls on the shoulders of the filmmaker. Usually that's the director. If it is a writer and a director, they may split the cost. Sometimes the DP will throw in on those costs based on toys they want to bring into the mix. But this one was really, I think we kind of really used what we had. And what were the main expenses within that production?
I mean, they're right in front of you, so you can tell me if
I
I'm
want
wrong.
You to tell me. Yeah. I'll verify your data, but you.
No, like
tell the
honestly, I'm
story.
not sure if I'm
Got
gonna
it.
get this right.
Okay.
So
Food, right? Food's a high
food
one.
was hungry.
Food's always, we always
Food
got
is always-
Food was hungry.
Yeah.
He had no tequila, guys. Everyone else is drinking tequila except
Everybody
for
else.
this guy.
Food
that
was
said
hungry
food was
for
hungry.
budget.
Okay, you want me to tell you?
All I ate today was like a big Oreo.
Please take a piece of candy.
We're eating
Take
hard
a fucking
candy.
piece of candy.
Hey, okay, check it out. So, a little bit like, okay, location we have free because we used what we had. We used Nicole's loft.
Which was pretty dope.
Not use what you had. It was a choice that was chosen.
No,
We had no other options.
Yeah, we looked at options.
We actually did look for places.
We went to the Filipino town.
Oh, that's
spot.
right. You
We
guys
tried to
had
get
pretty
it.
gnarly options.
Yeah, we tried to get it, and then like the final week, they said, "Hey, sorry, we can't. We're just not prepared to let you into the space."
Well, it was hard too because at first you guys were looking for office.
yeah,
Something
Yeah.
that's a little bit more like not a home.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what's great though about that? Someone this week commented on the film and said, "Wow, that is the perfect location for
Well,
this thing."
see,
So tight.
you just
so
use
tight.
what you have, and like nobody knows what you didn't have. You just
Yeah,
use it,
exactly.
and you just
Yeah.
make it work.
The only thing people see is what's on screen.
Yeah.
I mean, we built that office. Like, it was like a good space. There was a good amount of like usable stuff here already. So thank you for that. Again, but
Thanks, Grandma.
We're actually in the location
We're
filming
here
this
right
podcast.
now. Thanks, Grandma, again.
But yeah, like then we didn't have, we brought in the desk, we brought in the bookshelves, we brought in like
No, you brought in a lot.
we brought in a lot. We made an office.
Holy shit! The Sky Panel rental was $300.
What?
What's a sky panel?
I'm sorry.
light.
That's
an airy light.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh.
Okay. Continue.
Wow, Chris.
Shit.
Thanks.
Are you shocked because it was cheap or shocked because we paid for it?
It just shocked at the $300 Sky Panel rental. I
For
don't
a
know.
single light, yeah.
For one light. Was
For
it
one light. Oh, that's why.
Was it one Sky Panel? Do you know?
Yeah, there's one Sky Panel.
Hmm.
Sometimes there are things
gear, man.
you can do differently next
Yeah.
time. You know,
Yeah.
Now he knows.
you can
I never
learn from some mistakes.
I guess I never really looked at this budget breakdown. I feel like
Jesus
maybe.
Christ.
Yeah.
Well, you did pretty good on your meals and crafty though. Like $250 for all the stuff for like 15 to 20 people. Usually it's like about $500 for meals and crafty.
For that
Yeah, what did
many
we get?
people.
Chipotle?
I think we did.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah, and it was
Chipotle's,
delicious.
It
yeah.
was really good.
Yeah.
Most of us didn't want to go back to work after that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nap
good.
time.
It's a crowd pleaser and it's cheap. So
Yeah.
any aspiring filmmakers out there, eat Chipotle. Do they have a slogan I can plug?
And if you eat 2-day-old Chipotle, it's even cheaper.
That's fucking disgusting.
Wait, that's a real thing?
Probably.
Eat
Matt.
Are you
fresh.
just making shit up?
When I was in film school and we had to cater the sets, we would go to the bakery at the grocery store and they would give us the old bread and donuts and stuff.
Because everybody's a fucking caveman in college. That's why.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on the note of like we had that many people that we had to feed. Like, I think if there is something that also on the subject of things that we would do differently if we, to learn from that, I feel like we could have done that with about half the people. We had a lot of people there.
In a small room.
Small room, got real sweaty
It was
real
very
fast.
sweaty, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think we
Well,
could have scaled that
What month did we
way
shoot
down.
this?
This
It was
was
February.
I thought it was March, really?
End of last
End of
day
February.
of February.
Might have been the
Oh,
first
okay.
day of March, so you might be
No,
right.
it was. Yeah, it was
No,
March because
it wasn't the first day.
I
of
had
March.
my birthday.
It was your birthday.
Yeah.
It was your birthday.
And mine is
Oh,
March
so it was
30th.
End of because this was number 4.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't want to explain
We
that.
picked it in
It's
February.
fine.
Yeah, I remember.
So we shot this end of March, and why'd you ask that question?
No, I just asked what month it was,
Oh, no,
just
but-
out of
oh,
curiosity.
We're 5 days shy of the 1 year anniversary of shooting it, so that's fun.
Oh, okay. So, where would we have cut back on humans for this project? Like, where do you think we could have cut back?
PAs?
Yeah, we didn't. There were a lot
We
of
had a lot of
people.
PAs.
who-
I don't
Yeah.
remember.
We had a
We
lot of
quite a few
PAs.
PAs.
Yeah, but there are people trying to get experience and like figure out what the thing was.
It was just hard too because I feel like this space is so small that with the gear and with and this was I think the first time we shot in here, right? Like it was the
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
So it was kind of figuring it out. Like it was disgusting in here. It was pretty fucking gnarly in here.
So how many productions have we done in this room now?
95.
No, she's making up numbers. She likes to make up numbers. We did pre-recorded therapists. We did Jobs, which is loved ones.
Loved ones.
That's it.
That's it?
We've done. There's just 2, I think.
Well, because one was at mom's.
Yeah, we did
One
one
was
next
in
door.
our apartment.
One was in our apartment. Yeah, we have a compound, and there's a bunch of different.
One
like,
was in the
locations.
yard.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah, so we've shot 5 times on our
I guess
compound.
it feels like we've been here a lot.
We
'cause
have every meeting
Yeah,
here.
and
Yeah.
we do these podcasts.
Yeah, so if you watch the film, the location is where we have all of our meetings for the club and where we record the podcast.
That's a good bit of information. Thanks
Yeah.
for
But you'd
sharing
never
that.
know.
Yeah.
You'd never know.
You'd never
Flip
know.
that shit. So okay, that's good stories, guys. Good stories.
Derek, I want to know a little bit about like your background. Like, did you go to film school? Were you more into acting than filmmaking? Like, tell us about like where you came from, how you ended up in LA, all of that, and like what your goals are.
Yeah. Okay. So I went to Elon University, which is in North Carolina. I'm also from North Carolina, and I did like it wasn't film school. It was a liberal arts school, but they had a film degree, and so I took the classes there and got the degree, but
So you majored in film production?
More or less. They didn't call it film production. It was called media arts and entertainment.
Gotcha.
But so that having that major allowed me to check out equipment. So me and some friends would check out equipment every weekend and go out and shoot stuff. Sometimes we'd check out equipment not even knowing what we were going to go shoot. We just grab it because we knew we were going to go shoot something. And I don't feel like I got a lot of value out of the school part of it. I don't feel like I learned a lot in my classes. I felt like my teachers were kind of phoning it in sometimes, and also were not keeping up to date on cameras, editing software, any advancements in the film industry, because they kind of just went to grad school 20 years prior.
What year was this?
I was there 2010 to 2014.
Oh, okay, cool.
But yeah, so it was
DSLR. You were in the DSLR revolution.
Yes, yeah. 5Ds were we were what are these?
Yeah.
Did they still have film cameras on campus?
No, we had tape cameras that they threw in the garbage, I think, after my freshman year, because that was when SD cards started to become affordable. And yeah, so what this is all to say, we spend a lot of time just teaching ourselves, because I don't feel like I was really learning a lot with the degree, but the school did allow me access to equipment, so that was cool. Yeah, and then graduated there, and I knew I wanted to be, because I'd been doing sketch in college, and I knew I wanted to be performing, acting, that kind of thing. I interned with College Humor while I was in school. While I was at College Humor, I got to be on set with some cool people who were just killing it. The first set I was ever on in LA, which was with College Humor, it was Jake and Amir, Ben Schwartz, Thomas Middleditch, and Milana Vainthrob, who are all doing very, very cool things now. It was just before Milana Vainthrob, who is now the spokesperson for AT&T, and she's the star of an interactive comedy thing. Thomas Middleditch is on Silicon Valley. Ben Schwartz played John Ralphio on Parks and Rec, and does a ton of other cool stuff. Performs at UCB all the time. He's a voice on DuckTales. He's a cool dude. Nicest guy I've ever met in Hollywood. It's just so cool to me. On my first day on a real set, was hey man, I'm Ben. How's it going? Had a really good time there, and was you know what? This is what I want to do. I want to be in comedy, and I want to make shorts like these guys are making, and I want to mess around on set. And so learned there about UCB and how that was kind of a breeding ground for a lot of comedy stuff. So I was okay, I guess I want to be involved at UCB, and I now work at UCB. I'm a technician there, and I'm also involved at the Pack Theater, which is more of an up and coming theater. My goals are to just be as involved as I can in, making funny stuff, and sketch comedy. Yeah.
So do you feel so you said the first day you were on set, that's kind of when you were oh, I knew I wanted to do this. Some people say, oh, I knew I wanted to do this my whole life, or you really feel that was the day, or?
Yeah, I mean, it was we'd already been kind of doing the amateur version of what these guys were doing, back at college. And so then when I was there and was oh wait, this is a thing that real people do? Okay, I'll take some of that. Yeah, please. So I really look up to those people, and that's where I want to be.
How did you get the internship?
It was not that difficult. My friend Stephanie was already she'd already been an intern there, and they were looking for people. So I was like, hey, can you recommend me? And she was like, sure. It's like they really need people to do this unpaid, difficult manual labor. And I was like, great, I'm psyched about it.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone that like wants to do this, wants to be in the sketch world or the comedy film world, and that trying to figure out how they could get started or get involved in some way? Like, what would your advice to them be?
I would say like depending on their age, like if they haven't done college yet, I would say like as early as you can, like get to New York or LA. Like, don't even mess around with Chicago. Like, get to New York or LA, get involved at, like, if you're in New York, like the Pit. If you're, like, in either UCB, if you're in LA, the Pack is great. Like, you just kind of have to, like, hop headfirst into one of those communities.
Why not Chicago? Just curious.
Because I tried Chicago and it was a nightmare. And also, and I'm comfortable saying this on a podcast, fuck Sharna Halpern. Just fuck Sharna Halpern. Sharna Halpern, if you don't know, is like the owner of the IO Theater, which is now in Chicago and not in Los Angeles. They did have an IO West branch here, and then they closed down with 2 weeks' notice, and just fucked over a whole lot of people, and didn't care. Just didn't care. What was the question? Was it why do I hate Sharna Halpern?
Why not Chicago? But you answered that.
Yeah.
I don't, because I mean, like, Chicago's cool, I guess, if you like don't really want to be in production too much. But like, production is in LA and New York. Like, Chicago just doesn't.
Compared to New York, I mean, I don't know how familiar you are, but compared to New York, how is the LA sketch scene compared to New York?
I don't know. I've never lived in New York.
Okay.
Well, wait, where was College Humor when you did that? Was that
That
LA?
was in LA, yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
That's cool. Tell us about your sketch group that so you founded this thing, right?
No. It's a house sketch team, so that means that the theater formed it. Me and like a bunch of other people auditioned for it. We submitted writing packets, and then we were invited to do a callback audition where we went and did I think 3 or 4 minutes of like character bits, solo bits, in front of like a packed house, and then based on that they put us all on teams, and so like the theater formed us. And then provides us the resource and the time slot, and it's like, do with this what you will. And then
really cool.
At the end of your run, which for us is a year, then they will reshuffle teams, they'll make cuts, they'll add people, because there'll be a new round of auditions and packets submitted.
So there's like a curator who kind of like makes those calls, or is there a committee? What's the?
There's an artistic director there, and then there are like three people who jointly head up the sketch program there, who are all like very, very cool people who are very qualified to be doing that, and I'm like, I feel lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's
It's
great.
amazing.
Is there income opportunities through that, or is it strictly for the love of it?
It's strictly for the love of it. Yeah. I mean, the hope is that, you know, it's more than a hope, because this is how it goes. You know, you're in a community of people who are all pursuing comedy. They're all pursuing comedic writing and performing, and down the line, like, those people are going to be the ones who are, you know, doing they're pitching shows, they're getting TV shows. Like one of a PAC improviser actually just won an Oscar because he for best adapted screenplay for BlacKkKlansman. And like, you know, now like he's just part of the community, and so like the hope is that down the line, you know, we're all going to be making stuff, and like we will have this history of collaborating with one another, which is how it's gone in the world of like comedy television and movies, because comedy movies, TV shows for the past forever have been the people meet doing live comedy and taking classes together, and it's kind of handed down in that way.
Right.
So is sketch comedy more like the training grounds to move into TV and movies, or is there a way to make a living just doing sketch comedy on stage?
There's not. No, there's no money in sketch comedy. There's no money in improv. It's purely to get good, and I like totally respect that, and I think that's important because you need that training ground to get good. And a lot of the skills that you learn doing sketch comedy are transferable to doing other things. A lot of the skills you learn doing improv are transferable to other things, because improv especially allows you to be adaptable. Like if you're directing something and the shot that you wanted doesn't work, the line that you wanted isn't feeling right with an actor, then it's like, okay, time to play, time to get in there and just like, all right, what could be fun right now? It's discovering so much of, I think, so like the most important thing you can have when you're doing any sort of comedy, especially scripted comedy, is being able to be a little loose with it, just loose with the scene, because you make discoveries along the way. And I think usually those discoveries are more fun than anything you had on the page.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like sketch comedy is pretty similar to like something like what we're doing with the short film thing, where it's just about developing and exploring and creating community around yourself to raise each other up and make each other better.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
Challenging each other, pushing each other. That's cool. The questions you're asking are good, Matt, because it's information for young filmmakers. It's like context, right? So it's like, what can we share with young filmmakers in regards to avenues into the industry, right? So like your avenue is through sketch comedy. You kind of like, you did film school, or, digital media, which is a version of film school, and you jumped into an internship at College Humor, figured out what that looked like, right? You got some context of what that industry looked like, figured out what you wanted to do based on that, started doing it to exercise the craft, and now you're just doing it. So with that though, like how are you surviving in Los Angeles?
I have like multiple side gigs. I don't even know if I have a main gig. I just sort of scrounge things together, but I work at UCB as a technician, so I tech like bunch of different shows there. I'm a video editor, so try to do that as much as I can. I'm like working on a training video series right now that I'm like, as we speak, getting emails about. Like, what else? I just started like this event photography thing that will hopefully pan out and become more money.
Just doing stuff.
I'm doing stuff.
Yeah.
The LA hustle that everyone does, and whether they talk about it or not.
Right.
Being a slasher is a real thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of commas, a lot of slashes.
Multi-hyphenates.
I think it's, this day and age, especially being a filmmaker or an actor or anything, that's your thing, but you got to pay the bills somehow.
Stability is not guaranteed.
No, especially in this freelance industry we're all in, and however you got to pay the bills, it's how you do it. And if you can be somewhat creative in your day job or how you're paying the bills until you do hit that first big gig, and and also there's plenty of people that do hit that first big gig, and once that first big gig is gone, you're right back to the hustle. So
100%.
It's all good. It's what everyone does, and the people that say they don't are pretending.
But you got to create the opportunities so that you can do the thing that you really want to be doing, no matter what, right? And it's like gathering the income is just energy to do the thing that you really want to be doing at the end of the day. And hopefully there's a slow transition from, I'm doing the thing because I love it, to I'm doing the thing and generating income doing the thing. And there's a clear differentiation that I've discovered in regards to like, okay, that pays the bills. I don't want to do it, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to try to finish it as quick as possible and take that income and then go do, Assorted Kinds and the different film projects and whatever. So survival by any means necessary and creation by any means necessary. So
yeah.
Do you have other avenues you'd want to explore besides comedy or comedy sketches or creation that you kind of would want to do eventually in the future?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm kind of single-minded on that, to be honest. I like to sing. I would love to.
Like musicals? Like comedy musicals.
I mean, like, sure, yeah, but I don't know. I had an a cappella group in college, and I miss doing that a little bit. So maybe one day I'll get
Chris
this.
Can we do a song?
excited
Can we do
now.
She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain or something?
Right now.
Yeah.
She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes.
That's fucking it right
And
there.
that's a harmony right there.
That was hot.
That's what it's all about.
#1 club track next summer.
Sick. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
I have a past life musician and trying to like hold on to it,
Yeah.
But,
Still got it.
So what's next, Derek? What are you working on? Like, what you thinking? What you doing? What's brewing?
I don't know. Trying to keep my head above water this week. I've got a busier than usual week. But yeah, I'm still riding the sketch train. I like to. I've got a couple pilot ideas that I'd like to get down on paper and polish those up, and because it's just a thing where like I think most of the people I know in the comedy world have like at least one pilot, and it's like, oh, I guess I should do that too. Yeah, and also like at New Year's Eve, I was at a New Year's Eve party, and a friend of mine was like, I just met with the Comedy Bang Bang people. I just want to put you in touch. Do you have a pilot? I'm like, fuck. Yeah, so.
So you're the only person in LA that doesn't have a pilot, but you should.
Because everything I write's like kind of short.
Have you started working on it already?
But also like I'm not divulging anything.
Okay. I was like, give me a log line now.
As long as you got an outline at least, like just like act.
No, he's got to keep that. It's top secret shit.
Like, you don't have to give it to us. I'm just saying, as long as you have it.
Listen,
all right, guys. All right, back up. Jesus Christ.
Let the man process.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Yeah.
Very good. We're
looking
forward. We're looking forward to that. Yeah.
There's a couple before you like wrap it up. I do want to. There's David, talk about being a set decorator for Pre-Recorded Therapist.
Well, as some of you might not know, I am a full-time director, and I have most of the time just pretty much directed and produced everything that I shot. And doing the great thing about Assorted Kinds is that it provided me the opportunity to do a role that usually I don't really give it a second thought, or it's like one of those things that I just have to do on a production if there's nobody around to do it. But this sort of provided an opportunity for me to just focus on that. And for me, it was a little nerve-wracking because, it was somebody else's project. But it was, luckily there was other people on the set design team, which really helped, because I got a little bit busy that week, so I wasn't able to really give it like 100% that week. But the day of, it was actually really fun, sort of just focusing on the space and just seeing what would work and what looked good and stuff like that. So that was it almost gave me a different point of view on a set. Because for me, usually if I'm on a set, the point of view is like what's on camera and like everything else but, right? And for this one, it was like all I had to focus on how did it look and if the continuity was fine and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it was fun to just explore that side, you know what I mean? And one thing for me that I actually enjoyed on set was watching Derek sort of explore that side of it as a director, and the great thing about this group is that I feel that we sort of can encourage each other even while on set. And there was moments during the shoot that I saw that he was getting a little like overwhelmed, and I was like, hey, no, you're good, you're doing good. And it was that encouraging, the encouragement that I felt was like I felt free to do that, you know what I mean, while also doing my role, you know what I mean. So it was a good time on set. It was a great role to explore, and it was it was fun. It was a good
Yeah, I didn't really get to experience being in the room very much because I was kind of like playing a supporting producer role outside-ish kind of thing. Yeah.
So there wasn't room for you in here.
No way.
Nobody wanted.
So I didn't really get to experience it too much, but I was doing behind-the-scenes photos, so I would pop in and,
those were all great.
Yeah, that was good times. We had Jaden on that. That was our first shoot.
Oh yeah,
with
we had
Jaden.
the child.
Yeah, so Nicole's cousin's son, who's in film school, he's like a high school student, was just like, hey, like, I'm just curious, like,
he's a high school student. He's not even in film school.
He's like a film program in high school. He like makes films for his high school.
But he just does it on the side. Like that's just his elective,
which is great.
No, I think it makes it more amazing.
Yeah, so he got to come experience what it was like to be on a set. That was his first time. He's done it a few times with us, and like he was just frothing and soaking up the information. It was really cool to give him that experience.
Derek, what did you take away from that day?
It was rough, but we got through it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a rough day. But
what about the good stuff? Positive stuff.
Yeah, I think we shot a really fun thing, and I don't know. It's good. I got nothing.
Okay.
Are you happy with the film overall in the end?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I'm ever quite happy with anything I do, and I'm okay with that.
Sounds like you're an artist.
Exactly.
I think if
There's nothing wrong with that.
if I look back at something and I'm like, nailed it, I think that means I stopped growing. It means I stopped learning and became complacent. And it's definitely now at the point where I can't watch it. Like I absolutely cannot watch it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't, listeners. No, I don't know. There was like a period where it was like, yeah, I feel good about this. I still feel comfortable sending people the link. I still feel comfortable like having that be a representation of my work, and the kind of thing that I like to make. And so yeah, that's all good. But still can't watch it just because it's a thing I made, and like I'd say I'm just sick of it at this point. So.
Well, it's been done for quite a while. You finished it relatively quickly in Assorted Kinds timelines, and we've been sitting on it for a while, and we just finally put it out, and so I can understand it being a thing where you're just like, yeah, cool, did it, moving on, great, add it to your kind of resume of projects, which is cool. I think it's a great project. I think it definitely represents how talented you are as a storyteller. And I think like you said, it's like that's the case of the filmmaker, is like we don't like it after we make it. However, that there's like this self-deprecation that comes with that, and like that's internal shaming when it's good.
Yeah, well, because you know how the sausage is made. Essentially, that's what happens. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, it's fine. It's every time you make a film, you learn something, and so by the time you're done making the film, you already know how to make it better, and so at least your next film will be better. But all you can do is look at that thing and see what's wrong with it and what you could have done better, and if you don't look at it that way, you're never going to grow.
I guess that's a better question. Did you feel you learned something?
Oh yeah, I feel like I learned a shit ton. Yeah. I have a much better idea of how I would go into that again, and I have a better idea of how I will go into, other stuff. But every production has its own constraints, and you just kind of got to roll with those punches.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's one like before you went into it, you didn't really have an understanding of it, and when you came out of it, like, oh, okay, I got that. Like, what's one thing that was like a light bulb for you?
I wanted to. There were a few things that were like, I had the thought, and then I was like, nah, it'll be fine. And then on looking back, it's like, no, I was right. I should have done it that way. Like I had my friend, not this Matt, but a different Matt, on script supervision, and he was reading the part of the therapist. And what I'd wanted to do originally was just read those lines myself, just like memorize the script and then just be part of it on set. Because Matt did a great job, but like he wasn't really playing the character, and I regret not just doing that. I regret not just being that part while directing, because I feel like that would have let me be in it more, and it would have given me a little more freedom to like play around with it with Cassie, the actress, because like Cassie's a fantastic improviser, and I don't think that I utilized that as well as I could have for this. That's one thing I would do differently is like try to be looser with it while we're doing it, and really be an active participant in it, which I could have been more of.
Where did Cassie come from?
Cassie's a performer at UCB, and that's where I met her. She was there the first time that I did this on stage, and she like encouraged me a lot that it was a good idea and a good character. So, there was really no question at any point that it wouldn't be Cassie.
Yeah, she nailed it. It was really cool.
Yeah, she was great in it.
Yeah. Has this project actually opened up any opportunities for you since you put it out?
Not really. I mean, I guess like people have seen it that I like didn't super know, like I didn't know them that well, but they saw it because like they knew Cassie or they saw it at a screening, and like I've gotten compliments that way, and I've made some connections that way. They haven't panned out into like anything super tangible, but that doesn't mean they won't.
Yeah, consistency is key. It's like you put that out, put another thing out, keep putting things out. And then
awareness in general is good.
Yeah. So congrats, man. All right. Well, thank you all for making this effort. If you haven't already, go give Derek Scully's Pre-Recorded Therapist a watch at assortedkinds.com and on our YouTube channel. If you've watched it and liked it, please share it. If you want to continue the conversation with any of our guests, you can find them on the internet. Where do you guys each prefer to converse, Derek?
Like social media stuff?
Yeah, where do you prefer?
I'm on Instagram, Derek_Scully. And I would also check out Thunderdog Sketch, fourth Sundays at the Pack Theater.
Yeah.
Nice.
You guys have a website?
No, but Thunderdog Sketch is the Instagram handle. So
cool. David, where do you prefer to have conversation?
I'm on both Instagram and Twitter. It's at David Gallardo. I'm pretty much on it all day. So
Okay, not doing work. Got it.
No.
Nicole?
You can find me in real life.
Okay.
Otherwise, I won't fucking talk to you.
She's scary.
Matt Davino.
I'm on Instagram at DevoCam, and all one word, and on Twitter Matt_Devo.
And you can find me pretty much on Instagram at Chris Laughter. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Derek.
Good talk.
Thunderdog is also at packtheater.com.
Yes.
Go see Thunderdog.
Yeah, I think I knew there was a place you could go see that on the internet.
Thunderdog.
We're waiting patiently for that Game of Thrones sketch.
I know. I can't wait.
Is that like a play on Thundercats?
It was. I don't know if the
Underdog.
podcast is still going, but
But we're still recording.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with my friend Brent when we were picking team names, and I was like, hey, I was thinking like we might call ourselves Underdog, and he was like, what'd you say, Thunderdog? I was like, yeah, that sounds cooler.
That's exactly what I said.
And then I pitched it to the group, and then we voted on it.
Nice.
It wasn't my call, but
Got it.
Cool.
Sick.
It's also the name of a softball team.
I'm gonna cut.
Got it.